Hello, my name is Camille, and today I'm going to introduce my StreamingWorld level. The assignment was based on making an island, technically designed to be divided in 9 levels that will be loaded differently at different times. So only 3 of them should be visible. So we have to block sight lines so that the rest is not seen. So the player starts on this shore where they discover the different areas surrounding them, like this forest over there. And they get quickly a quest from a raven that explains that you are on an island and you need to reach a mountain that will open the path to the fjord, where you will be able to reach back to the land of the mortals. Because the story is that you're some kind of brave warrior that has died in combat and are rewarded with a chance to go back if you manage to survive this island between life and death, so to speak. So using some signposting, the player found a path to an alternate area than the forest you saw up the cliff and reaches the Wailing March. All the sounds you hear and the presentation of the title of the area, all of this is implemented in game. I focused on functionalities as opposed to using asset packs, so everything is Blender meshes for blockout purposes. This is the moving AI that on detection will get to the player and engage a turn-based combat, which is the system, the base system I used. It's not really developed. I have not much more than one special ability for the player, but this one, the slash, will one-shot an enemy after stacking enough rage, basically. So I wanted to use this system as a side project that I could just put into the game anyway. So to have some kind of RPG movement on the map where if you collide with an enemy, you will start a combat, basically. So we take ourselves through this marsh with all the pools full of skulls that will kill the player and make them respawn on last checkpoint if they do. But we make our way through the march, and now we reach the next area, which has the centerpiece over there, this sort of weird stone arm jutting out of the ground. And this is the triggered event that blocks the way, because there are 2 areas to reach these canyons: the forest we saw in the beginning and this marsh. Every time you use one of these areas, then one of them will be blocked. We take the checkpoint, still unsure really what is out there in the middle of the canyon, and we continue on. When we look there seems to be a new area, but there is a light over there that seems to indicate that there is something to discover. So if we go there, we see that there is some body of a skeleton with a bonfire there, probably someone like the player that has not found the secret fjord on the island and died. And as we approach this thing that blocks the way, we realize that it's a gigantic sword through a triggered sequence. And then there is this arm right there jutting out. And we understand quickly that it's probably the only way to unlock the path and get away the sword. So we fade back to the game and realize that we have to find a way to have that arm activate or unsheath the sword from the ground. And we get to a new area called the Ashen Grave, which is hills of ash with a lot of swords planted on the ground that act as tombstones to better represent and encapsulate the theme of death of this island. And we quickly realize when we take the checkpoint that this is the head of a giant. And there is a quest marker on top of it with stairs. So we get there. And we get a quest that is saying that we have to recover the eyes for the giant as a service, because they've been used by these hollow creatures as evil artifacts. Bit of a quickly put together and convoluted lore, but it gets the point across. So we're looking for the 2 eyes of this giant now. One of them we found in the vicinity, avoiding more enemies, and then we climb on this old ruined stairs atop the Ashen Hills, where we get a nice vista on the whole area with all the graves and the monsters, as well as the giant head and the giant arm and the sword over there. And we reach the next area called Jagged Church, which is this building. On top of that mountain, there is too much fog to see more than to be streaming more than 2 areas. We see the stairs at the bottom, but not more. And there is a guard protecting the second eye, so we're gonna have to engage combat with them. My debug exclamation mark is activating a lot of time because it's based on perception. So getting through the combat, but it's not very visible due to the fog that I added afterwards, I realized. We're going to dispose of these enemies, and after that we will be able to complete the quest, and in the console messages on top we will actually see some confirmation messages also, and the objective tracking down in the bottom will also update itself. There we go. So we see in the console that it's confirming, and we can take this path down from the mountain to the Pine Foothills, which we can see now on the actual minimap that is on top, which is a good way to orientate yourself in such a world. That's why I had this feature implemented. It uses a coordinate system to know where the player is on the 2D image, basically. And in that shack, we picked up that helmet that has actually a gameplay functionality. It adds 100 HP to the player, basically. Simple as that. And now, because we cannot go back to the Jagged Church, we're gonna get to the Howling Pass again from another entrance. And again, this triggered sequence, or this triggered event, will activate a rockfall that will prevent us from going back. And now we can go validate the quest by the giant and make sure that we give them back their eyes and unlock the sword. And now the main triggered sequence of the level activates with a nice view on the head of the giant, wondering a little bit how his body ended up in that sort of weird position. Must not be very... Yeah, it's a flexible giant, anyways. So now we see the sword has been unsheathed, and that means that the path to the last areas, we can see at the bottom of the minimap, is opened. So we press on. If we look above us, we see that the sword is indeed unsheathed, leaving a hole in the ground, and we can reach the promised area of Mount Esteldir, which is this sort of majestic mountain, a little Skyrim inspired, with weird dark structures, ruins on the sides, a mountain lake, and a broken bridge that seems to be leading to the area we know is the goal of the level, the Sacred Fjord, where we have a boat back to the land of the mortals. But the bridge is broken, and we know that the Raven at the beginning of the level has told us to bring back, or to find the Stone of Esteldir, the top of the mountain, basically. So we're gonna go there and reach the stone on this altar, which will activate the third sequence of the level. It's an arm jutting out of the lake to bring back a piece of bridge and open the way to the fjord. Lastly, I will just showcase this area optional, because the assignment said that it was possible to just showcase an optional area for possibly a side quest. It's called the Ruin Geysers, or we can see a ruin of a fort there. Potential dungeon with more equipment, but we go back to that area, and now it's time to get to the goal of the level. And there, just a tiny bit of jumping on the raised piece of bridge will allow us to get to the last area. And the goal here was to reveal a kind of nice sunny or a nice sunrise upon this frozen bay with much brighter water. There's also sound cues applied directly locally to these placeholders for the waterfalls, creating a nice atmosphere of peace after the stress and dark, gloomy ambience of the whole area or the whole island. And the player gets to rest a moment here, take in the experience, and then going upon the pontoon, they will trigger a fade to black and the fade of sound and get to the next level. So that's it for me. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.